Hey guys, welcome to the first lesson in the Japanese language course. In this lesson, I want you to be able to recognize the Japanese characters and be able to differentiate between the Japanese characters and the Chinese because they're different. A lot of people mistake between them, brings me some Chinese writings and asks me to tell them what it's talking about. I can read them, I can somehow understand what the general theme is about, but I can't read them out loud, I can't pronounce them, and I can't 100% translate it to you. You'll understand why in a while. I want you also to understand the three writing systems of the Japanese and also have an idea where they originated from. Also, I want you to be able to write in Japanese. We're going to talk about the Hiragana and Katakana. I want you to write in those. We'll leave the kanji till the end. We're just gonna talk about them thoroughly in this lesson, and then we're gonna go deep into them in a few lessons. I want you to be able to pronounce the letters and be able to differentiate between each pronunciation because there are some letters that are hard to pronounce, and most importantly, you must be able to have fun. So the Japanese characters, there are three types of them: the Hiragana, the Katakana, and the Kanji. The Katakana is this one in green. The Hiragana is this one in blue, this one as well, and this is called the Furigana. It is also a Hiragana, but it's called Furigana because it's written above the kanji. It's just simply how you pronounce the kanji. So you can guess now that the kanji is this one in yellow. And there's also something called Romanji. Romanji is simply the phonetics of the pronunciation. Whether it's katakana or hiragana, how you pronounce it is just written simply in English, and it's called Romanji. Like this one is anime. You pronounce it A, then Ni, then Me, which gives you anime. This letter is called ga, so it's written Ga and pronounced ga. This kanji is the kanji for suki, so its furigana is su, written Su, and ki is okurigana. We're gonna also understand later what's the use of the okurigana, but ki is pronounced ki as you can hear, so it's written ki and then da. So it's Da, da. So this is a summed up slide in which you can see all the hiragana, katakana aside to each other with their romanji. You're gonna know right now in the next two slides perhaps that all the hiragana and the katakana are in fact the same words but written in different style. I'm gonna tell you why is it written like that, but since they're the same word with the same phonetics, they have the same romanji. For example, this is a, so it's written a. The next one is e, so its romanji is I. U with a romanji u. E with a romanji e. O with a romanji o. You're also going to know that this line is the only vowels in the Japanese language, and it's always repeated in this column. So you can see akasata na hamayara wa, all of them ends with an A, as well as ikishichi nihimi, all of them ends with an I, and so on and so forth. Also, this section and this section, we're going to talk about them in details in the next upcoming slides. So here you can see the graph or the letters of the hiragana. I would like to throw the light here on something called the strokes. The strokes is something common between the hiragana, katakana, and the kanji. Although they don't have, no one alphabet or kanji have the same stroke as the other because they're different shapes, but they have general rules that they all follow. And for example, here for the A, you can see it's written like that. and later in each alphabet I'm going to show it to you on the blackboard live, so you can train on them and have an idea how they're wrote. So some important points I would like to mention about the hiragana, and you can go on and read other stuff by yourself if you want to increase your knowledge. Hiragana is used to write Japanese words that either have no kanji, or you just simply can't remember the kanji, and it's not something to be ashamed of. Japanese people does that. Or for kanji that you haven't yet learned, just like in our case. Hiragana was evolved from kanji, for information, from something called Manyogana about 650 CE. And as I told you, you can read that more about that in the Japanese textbook of histories, and you can find how just an interesting image I have collected from the internet here. It shows you what kanji each hiragana evolved from, but if you're interested in the story, you can read up more about it. And to read any simple Japanese textbook or even a book, story, manga, you need to first learn hiragana, not kanji and not katakana. So next we're gonna talk about the katakana, exactly as the hiragana, nothing new to add. You can see they have strokes. The characteristic here between the hiragana and the katakana is that, as you have seen, hiragana have a more curved lines, meanwhile the katakana have more angled and broken lines. Katakana also evolved from Manyogana by a Buddhist who wanted to simplify it even further, as if it wasn't even that simple. I don't know why did they do that. But these days it's used for writing foreign words, and this is the most important part. For example, I think we're all foreigners trying to learn Japanese, so when we write our names, we won't write it in hiragana, we will write it in katakana. Also, it's used for loan words. Also, it's used to show the difference between the onyomi and the kunyomi. The Japanese reading of the kanji and the Chinese reading of the kanji. We will tackle this point once we reach the kanji. Or to show emphasis and to write some company names. It's usually, to simplify it, it's used when you want to write something in Japanese that it's not originated from Japan, something that is taken from outside, because Japanese people are usually conservative and they like to protect their culture. So they have a writing system for words that are Japanese, words that express their culture, and they have another writing system for words that are not Japanese, words that are exterior for their culture. And we're gonna tackle katakana when we need it. Not now, and I haven't planned yet when we're gonna tackle it, but be sure once I feel that we need katakana, I'm going to make a special lesson for it. And it's not that hard, since we have already, we're gonna study hiragana right now. Katakana is not gonna be hard, it's just gonna be memorizing or understanding new shapes and new letters for the same pronunciation system. The next stop is the kanji. So, as you can expect, kanji originated from the shape of some stuff in nature, just like the ancient Egyptian words. So, for example, ichi, ni, san, those are counting numbers, as you can see here. So 1 was simply one piece of wood, so it came 1. 2 was 2 pieces, it became 2. 3 was 3 pieces, it became 3. You can guess 4 was 4 pieces and it became 4, but that's wrong. This is 4. And I actually have no idea why 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on are different. Once we're gonna tackle numbers, I'm going to mention this point. As you can see, the best example I like to give is the kawa, the river. You can see the banks of the river and the flow of the river. From this they made the word kawa. Also Yama, I'm not sure if there's Yama. There is Yama. See, I'm sure they always give this example, not simply because I like it, just they like to give it. I don't know why, but I like this example too. So you can see Yama with 3 peaks. So trying to look from this picture, you can see there is Yama, and this kanji was created, and so on and so forth for almost all kanjis. So nothing to hide, kanji was imported to the Japanese culture and language from China, just like anything else in the world, you know, made in China, imported from China, those stuff. But let's leave that aside and talk about Japanese here. It was imported in 50 AD. It's also told that until then Japanese didn't have a writing system. I know it sounds weird. It sounds weird to me too. I'm not that keen on history, but from what I have read, a lot of history books has assured this point. Me as a thinker, I think it doesn't make sense, but me as a believer, I think I will have to believe it until another historian, someone who is specified in this point, tells the opposite. It's also nice to realize that there are some kanjis that were created in Japan, so Chinese won't understand it, and it's called kokugo, translated to national characters. And there are also some obscure kanjis used in names alone that is called jimesho kanji, that might not be known neither to Japanese nor to Chinese, and this one is a hard point unless it's in your name or someone's name that you know. So you might see the kanji, you don't understand it unless someone tells you what is it, how is it pronounced, and what it means. And I guess that's something common in all namings. You might read the name in English, written in English, and then you just don't understand what the name means, how to pronounce it, unless the name owner tells you what it means. And I think the best example for this is the Russian name of Elon Musk's son, if you have seen it. No one in the world understood what is that until his wife explained it to us. So I guess that's something interesting and something very nice about naming systems in the whole world, not just in Japan. As I said, we'll not go deep into kanji right now, but we could quickly discuss its anatomy and its general idea. Kanji is formed of radicals, and each radical by its turn is formed of strokes. Those are radicals from the original kanji, and then each radical is formed of strokes. There you can have a radical for a person, a radical for a tree, a radical for a person, have 2 strokes. This is the first stroke like that, this is the second stroke like that. A stroke is what's called as one brush move. However, we may quickly discuss at some point the very common kanjis that I would also like you to use in a daily basis, because it's very easy and it's very expressive, such as the days of the week or the night. Here you can see the days of the week, and here you can see the numbers. We have already explained the origin of those 3 numbers. Once I'm going to explain to you the other numbers, I'll tell you the origin, just not to make your mind busy with a lot of stuff. Here you can see the days of the week: Nichi, Getsu, Ka, Sui, Moku, Kin, Do. You might be asking now why I'm not pronouncing those 2, which are also repeated in all those on all 7 days. It's because this is Yobi, which says the day. So this is the day Sunday, the day Monday, the day Thursday, and so on and so forth. Those kanjis are not originated from the days of the week, as you might expect. It instead originates from figures of the nature, as for example, Nichi originates from the sun, Getsu from the moon, Ka from the fire, and Sui is from the water, Moku from the tree, Kin is from the gold, and Do is from the soil. This is not actually gold, this is a coin, but it embodies the gold. Actually, Kin is a gold, or it can be used among people as for money. For example, when someone asks you, "Kin wa motteru ka?" he might be asking, "Do you have money?" Because no one will ask you in the street, "Do you have gold?" That's so freaky and so scary to be asked like that. Finally, before getting into the alphabets and explaining all what's related to them, from pronunciation, writing style, how to write them, words starting with their letters, I would like to talk a little bit about the Romanji or Romaji. Romanji is the romanization of the Japanese written language, as you could expect. And although some of the people, in fact a lot, would argue that it's not that advised to use it, Romanji will eventually have to be used because it have place in your repertoire. It's a new word for me as well, and I don't know how to use it. It's namely being the primary method of Japanese input for word processors and computer. I say it in other words, it's just how you type the words from your keyboard to the computer in order to the computer to understand it. You don't have Japanese letters on your keyboard, unlike other languages like English and Arabic. You have to type in first the Romanji, the pronunciation of the word, and then the processor, the computer, will understand it and transform it into the word you desire. Romaji might be said it's something like the Franco-Arab for Arabic users, which also uses Latin letters and numbers. It's easier to write indeed, but it's way harder to read, so please don't use it. Stop messing the Arabic language. And there are several types of using Romanji system. Each one types it on his own, but in the end you just simply write what you hear. So there's usually no point in trying to learn them, because in the end you will just ignore it, so why? And I'll just attach a link to download this training sheets. If you haven't seen them before, these training sheets are used to practice writing Japanese letters and eventually kanji as well. I want you to download them and print them for maximum benefits and start practicing writing to be able to write Japanese as a professional, I would say. They're not mine to be mentioned. All credits goes to the rightful owners, and I've given you the original download link in slides. You can just download my slides. I will have the download link in the description below. It's open source after all. So download my slides, access the links, and go download those files from the original websites and have fun practicing Japanese.